What's going on everyone and welcome to the channel. My name's Jack, I'm a chef by trade and my whole purpose for this channel is to give you 100% confidence in the kitchen as well as teach you absolutely everything I know. In this one we're going to be making a cauliflower cheese that's extremely smooth, extremely creamy, extremely cheesy and tastes absolutely fantastic. Also, Christmas is coming up and this recipe goes perfect with all of those different meats, different vegetables and really brings the whole family together. Please sit back, relax and enjoy. Alright guys, let's start this off with one whole cauliflower that's had its leaves removed and weighs roughly 950 grams or 2.1 pounds. With this, we're just going to slice around the core in a circular motion to remove the large florets, which we can then pull off like so. With the remaining florets, we can then snap them off, or we can use our knife again, continuing that circular motion around the core, making sure to remove every floret, including that little piece on the tip, just so we have no wastage, which will then leave us with just the core that can be used in a soup, for compost, or if you enjoy it, it can be chopped up and used in this recipe. Also, it's a good idea to chop up any large florets, making sure that they're the same size as the rest of them, as this will result in even cooking. Once the cauliflower is chopped, we can then add it to a large mixing bowl and add in 1 tablespoon or 15 milliliters of olive oil, 1 teaspoon or 5 grams of sea salt flakes, and 1 teaspoon or 10 cracks of black pepper. Give that all a good massage, ensuring the cauliflower is evenly coated in the oil, salt and pepper, and tip this into a 30cm by 20cm baking dish. The size doesn't really matter, just make sure that you have enough cauliflower to fill the dish. Proceed by spreading it all out just so it's not all sitting on top of one another, and make your way over to your preheated oven that's been set to 200 degrees Celsius or 400 degrees Fahrenheit and roast this for 20 to 25 minutes, giving it a mix around halfway through just until it's lightly charred on the top. In the meantime, let's make a cheese sauce by placing a large saucepan onto our stovetop over a medium-high heat and add in 100 grams or 3.5 ounces of cubed unsalted butter, allowing it to melt and just come to a boil. Once that's achieved, add in 50 grams or 1.7 ounces of plain all-purpose flour and continuously mix this around for 1 minute to cook out the taste of the flour and to create a roux, which is a thickening agent that's going to allow our sauce to have the most perfect consistency. After 1 minute, pour in 420 milliliters or 14.2 fluid ounces of full-fat milk, which is going to turn this from a simple roux into a bechamel or white sauce, and continue mixing this around for 1 minute. During this process, you'll notice around the 30-second mark that the milk will then start to work with the roux and will start to thicken the sauce. So this has now been 30 seconds in, and when we stir the sauce, we can create ribbons in the sauce, which shows us that we're on the right track. And after 1 minute, we have a really nice smooth paste that's similar to the consistency of a batter, and this right here is a simple bechamel or white sauce. For this recipe though, we're not going to settle for simple, so add in 420 milliliters or 14.2 fluid ounces of thickened cream, repeating that same process as the milk, cooking and stirring for 1 minute. What the cream is going to do is make this so smooth and velvety, adding a luxurious texture, as well as slightly thinning our sauce down a little, which will then thicken up again in the oven, creating literally the perfect consistency for a bechamel or white sauce. After 1 minute, add in 1 teaspoon or 5 grams of sea salt flakes, as well as 1 teaspoon or 0.5 grams of freshly grated nutmeg for a slightly sweet, warm and beautifully aromatic flavour. Proceed by stirring that around, allowing those flavours to build a friendship, and continue stirring this for a final 20 seconds, which will then leave us with the perfect bechamel or white sauce with the most amazing consistency, which we can then remove from the stovetop and place onto a heat-resistant surface. Now to continue building the flavour of this sauce, add in 120 grams or 4.2 ounces of freshly grated matured cheddar cheese for a distinct, nutty and sharp flavour, as well as 80 grams or 2.8 ounces of freshly grated Gruyere cheese for an assertive, creamy, nutty and earthy flavour. All that's left now is to mix the cheeses through the sauce until they're both just melted and the sauce is extremely smooth, cheesy and creamy. So our cauliflower's been roasting away in the background for the past 25 minutes and now has a beautiful char on it, which means we can remove it from the oven, being careful of any escaping steam, and place it onto a heat-resistant surface. We can then immediately pour over that luxurious cheese sauce, making sure to try and cover all areas, as well as removing every last bit of the sauce from the saucepan to avoid any wastage. We can then spread this around, fixing and filling any gaps that may have been missed, and also to cover all of the cauliflower, but it doesn't matter too much if some of the florets are sticking out, as they will take on a beautiful flavour once it's been baked. This next part is optional, but I'm personally grating over enough matured cheddar cheese to cover the surface, and also be sure to check out the description of this video as I'll leave an important note about this stage, and you should also smash that like button if you're enjoying this recipe so far. Anyway, once that's all done, we can then make our way back to the oven that's now set on 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit and bake this for 30 to 35 minutes or until the top is beautifully golden brown and any florets that are sticking up are deliciously charred. 35 minutes later and everything about this is looking and smelling absolutely perfect. We can then remove it from the oven, place it onto a heat resistant surface and allow it to set for 10 minutes. We can then carefully scoop it out of the baking dish, place it onto a plate or in a bowl or serve it straight out of the baking dish. And this then leads to the best part about this recipe, which is that we can then dig in. You seriously have to try this one. The flavour on that is absolutely incredible. It's so smooth, so creamy, so cheesy, and that cauliflower with that nice little char on it just tastes absolutely incredible. This recipe here serves about 6 people, but can easily be doubled, tripled, and so on. And to store this, we can place this in the fridge in an airtight container where it will last up to 5 days, or you can freeze it in an airtight container as well, where it will last up to 6 months. To reheat this, you can place it back in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes and just heat it up nicely that way, or you can chuck it in the microwave, just do whatever's easier for you. I really hope you enjoyed this video and I was able to teach you something. If you did, be sure to smash that like button and consider subscribing to see hundreds of more fantastic recipes. Thanks for watching everyone, stay safe and enjoy.